The date was March 5th, 2022. Although it was just early March, the temperature in Iowa was unseasonably warm, with strong winds blowing in from the south-southeast. During the afternoon hours, multiple supercells began to form across Iowa. Many of these supercells quickly began to produce tornadoes. One supercell in particular near the town of Winterset, Iowa, began to produce a particularly large and powerful tornado. As this tornado continued to rip across open farmland in central Iowa, it began to close in on multiple residential areas near Winterset. At this time, Kuri Bolger and her family of 7 others were enjoying the unseasonably warm Saturday afternoon in Iowa. Then, at 4:10 p.m., a tornado warning was issued for their home. However, due to either poor cell service at their home or a confirmed network failure at the National Weather Service office in Des Moines, the Bolgers did not receive a warning at this time. With the powerful and fast-moving tornado headed directly their way, the family was completely unaware of the danger they were now in. As the tornado closed in on their home, Kuri's husband Mike saw trees being ripped from the ground just outside their window. Frantically, the family rushed to their interior pantry as the tornado began to strike their home. In an instant, the tornado ripped through the Bolgers' residence, unfortunately killing 4 of the 8 family members as they rode out the tornado in their pantry. In just a few hours, 10 tornadoes touched down across central and southern Iowa, causing 7 fatalities, injuring 6 others, and becoming one of the most impactful early-season tornado outbreaks in Iowa's history. In the days leading up to March 5, 2022, models were showing a potent, early-season severe weather system possible over a portion of the Midwest. A powerful 500 millibar trough was forecasted to eject over portions of the central U.S., bringing a potential large-scale severe weather event with it. In addition, unseasonably warm temperatures were forecasted for the region, bringing dew points into the upper 50s. However, even with all of these factors present in the forecast, multiple uncertainties were still present. The main uncertainty came from the potential for morning convection. Morning convection is best described as storms that occur in the morning before a potential severe weather day. Morning convection can have a massive effect on severe weather potential, both positively and negatively. As for positively, morning convection can sometimes lay down outflow boundaries in their wake, as well as increased low-level moisture content, which can allow for storms to take advantage of increased low-level shear and dew points. As for the negative effects of morning convection, sometimes when morning convection lingers too long in the region, it can stunt destabilization, leading to lower instability for later storms and potentially stunting afternoon storm potential. As for March 5th, many of the models were already showcasing minimal moisture and instability, which was casting numerous doubts into the potential for tornadoes. However, these uncertainties would not be resolved until the 5th. On the morning of March 5th, 2022, the wind was blowing powerfully from the south-southeast as the warm front began to move northward into Iowa. Just as the models had forecasted, along the warm front, multiple storms began to form in the morning hours. One of these storms in particular became severe warned for hail in central Iowa. As this storm continued to track northeastward, it began to weaken and place down an outflow boundary in its wake. Over the next few hours, this outflow boundary continued to nudge to the southwest until it ended up resting just south of the Des Moines metro. As evident at this point in the day, the morning convection had no negative impact on the severe weather potential. In fact, it had potentially aided it with the introduction of the outflow boundary in central Iowa. At this time, the SPC had issued a 5% risk for tornadoes over a large portion of Iowa. However, over the next few hours, significant clearing was present across much of central and southern Iowa. At this point, the warm front was shaping up to be a bit further to the south than previously forecasted, putting areas in the southern portion of the state at greater risk for tornadoes. Around this time, the SPC issued a mesoscale discussion across Iowa, mentioning that a tornado watch would be needed within the next hour. Due to these factors, the SPC decided to upgrade the tornado potential to a 10% risk for southern Iowa. Then, at 2:05 p.m., the SPC issued a tornado watch for a significant portion of central and southern Iowa. As the dry line began to move across southern Iowa, multiple cumulonimbus clouds began to bubble in southwest Iowa. By 2:35 p.m., a severe thunderstorm-warned storm began to move north-northeastward in southwestern Iowa. Just to the south of this storm, another, more isolated supercell was also beginning to intensify. By 3:15 p.m., multiple tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings were in effect for Red Oak, Villisca, and Clarinda, Iowa. Many of these storms were a part of a messier cluster of storms, but the storm furthest to the south was much more isolated, and thus it was seen as the greatest threat in the near future. By 3:30 p.m., the southernmost supercell was tornado warned. Then, at 3:45 p.m., a tornado touched down near Prescott, Iowa. This tornado was very weak and short-lived, only being on the ground for around 2 minutes. After producing this weak tornado, the supercell continued to move northeastward and intensify, while not producing another tornado immediately. Further to the south, multiple supercells were beginning to form just west of I-35 in northern Missouri. Although many of these storms were clustered together, they were still isolated and likely posed a threat for tornadoes later in their lifespan. Then, at approximately 4:01 p.m., the northern supercell began to produce yet another tornado. Once again, this tornado was relatively weak, only causing minor damage in its 5-minute lifespan. The supercell then once again began to cycle over the next 20 minutes. As the supercell continued to track northeastward, it began to likely interact with the residual outflow boundary from the storms earlier in the day. This outflow boundary significantly enhanced the low-level wind field around the supercell and likely contributed to its future, long-lasting, and violent nature. Then, at 4:26 p.m., the Winterset tornado touched down in an open field to the northwest of Maxville, Iowa. Also at this time, a severe thunderstorm warning was issued for the storm just to the west of Bethany, Missouri, as it continued to stay isolated and intensify as it neared the Iowa-Missouri border. The tornado on the northern storm then began to quickly move northeastward at nearly 50 miles per hour. As the tornado began to near Highway 169 just south of Winterset, Iowa, numerous people began to video the large and violent tornado. At this time, a large tornado warning was issued for the southern portions of downtown Des Moines. The tornado then struck multiple homes just west of Highway 169. In this area, one home was rated at EF3 for 142 mph winds, and another was rated at EF4 for estimated 170 mph winds. Unfortunately, at the EF3 rated home, 4 people were killed as a direct result of the tornado. Additionally, at the EF4 rated residence, 2 others were killed by the tornado. The EF4 rated home was nearly completely destroyed and was the only EF4 damage indicator along the tornado's path. The tornado then crossed Highway 169, and another video was taken from the southern side of Winterset that showcased the violent wedge-shaped tornado. Fortunately for Winterset, a town of nearly 5,500 people, the tornado missed just barely to the southeastern portion of the town.
Oh man!
By 4:42 p.m., the tornado had made its way to Highway 92 east of Winterset, with its sights now set on Des Moines. At this time, the storms along the Iowa-Missouri border were continuing to look more and more tornadic by the minute. Particularly one cell just to the west of Leon, Iowa, and another just south of Eagleville, Missouri. At 4:52 p.m., the tornado crossed I-35 just to the south of Des Moines. At this time, the tornado warning tag was upgraded to considerable, noting the extremely violent nature of the tornado. The current projected path of the tornado was still targeted straight for the southern side of Des Moines at this time. At 4:55 p.m., the 2 storms just along and south of the Iowa-Missouri border were severe warned for severe hail and winds. Also evident with each of these storms was a mesocyclone in the upper levels of the atmosphere, which signaled tornado potential for these storms was beginning to rise. As for the ongoing tornado on the northern storm, a video was taken at this point near the southern side of Norwalk, Iowa, and it showed the fast-moving, multi-vortex appearance of the tornado. Then, just after 5 p.m., the National Weather Service office in Des Moines issued a tornado warning for the storm directly over Leon, Iowa. As evident with the most recent radar scan, a powerful low-level mesocyclone was now present on the storm. Just a few minutes later, at 5:07 p.m., a tornado touched down just to the northeast of Leon. This tornado then began to move northeastward and destroyed power poles at EF2 strength early on in its life. On the northern storm at this time, the tornado had now just begun to skirt the far southeastern side of Des Moines, fortunately only striking a metal factory at EF1 strength and a few homes in the Woodland Hills subdivision at EF2 strength. On the southern storm at this time, a home was struck at EF2 strength while the storm began to produce two simultaneous tornadoes. These two tornadoes only moved together for about 4 minutes just west of Humeston before yet another set of twins was present at the very end of the tornado's life. In total, the Leon/Humeston tornado was rated at EF2 after being on the ground for just under 20 miles. While the Humeston tornado was ongoing, the storm to the direct south had begun to look more tornadic as well. Then, at 5:38 p.m., directly after the Leon/Humeston tornado had lifted, a tornado touched down to the southwest of Allerton, Iowa. Instantly, the tornado hit multiple power poles at EF2 strength while showcasing a highly photogenic appearance.
Look at it. It's going, guys. Oh my gosh. Get it down in the basement. Look at that. It's going straight north. I think you're right.
At this time, a video was taken from a few miles to the east, which showcased the exceptionally photogenic appearance of the tornado.
West of our house. I'm standing where you can see our LP tank. Logan says he's okay. I just talked to him. I'm just watching it. It's a bad one. It's a big tornado right west of us. I'll just keep watching it. It's getting bigger and bigger. If it comes towards me, I'm going in the house. But I think it's going to go north of us. God. Ooh, buddy.
Just a few miles back to the north, the supercell just southwest of Sheraton, Iowa began to produce yet another tornado. Multiple videos taken from portions of Sheraton showcase the extremely violent and wispy appearance of this tornado.
Just give me a minute. Dude, look at that thing. There's two on the ground, literally right in the backyard. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Just chill out, it's a little snake. Tornado just passed the house. It's ripping. I'm gonna try and go get some better footage. But it literally, okay, it's this pin. But I don't know if you can see the debris. It literally just went north of our house a mile.
By 5:40 p.m., 3 tornadoes were simultaneously on the ground in the state of Iowa, all above EF2 strength. As the middle storm continued to move to the southeastern side of Sheraton, it produced a twin tornado that quickly took a looping pattern around the main tornado. The main tornado then struck multiple homes and unfortunately killed a 40-year-old woman at Red Hall State Park. By 5:50 p.m., all 3 tornadoes began to wrap up their life cycles. As for the Corden tornado, it lifted at 5:51 p.m. after being on the ground for just over 10 miles and reaching EF2 level strength. The Sheraton tornado then lifted just 2 minutes later at 5:53 p.m. after being on the ground for 20 minutes, killing 1, injuring 1, and traveling 11.4 miles. Just a few moments later, the Winterset tornado also finally lifted just to the north of Newton, Iowa. In total, the Winterset tornado had been on the ground for 95 minutes, while traveling nearly 71 miles, killing 6, injuring 5, and causing max wind speed estimates of 170 miles per hour. For the 2 supercells in southern Iowa, the lifting of the tornadoes marked the last tornadoes that they would produce. However, for the storm that had produced the Winterset tornado, it was not done yet. Just 3 minutes after the end of the Winterset tornado, the storm produced yet another tornado near Kellogg, Iowa. This tornado lasted for 24 minutes while traveling 17 miles, with max wind speeds estimated at EF2 level. The supercell then once again took a short hiatus, then produced yet another EF2 tornado to the south of Tama, Iowa. This tornado lasted for just 9 minutes and traveled 8 miles in its short lifespan. The supercell then produced one final tornado near the small town of Vinton, Iowa. Here, the tornado damaged numerous homes at EF1 strength before dissipating after tracking for 14 miles. In total, 12 tornadoes touched down throughout southern and central Iowa during the daytime and evening hours of March 5, 2022. 7 people were killed by these tornadoes, and 6 others were injured, making the outbreak one of the most impactful tornado outbreaks in history for Iowa in March. Overall, the outbreak of March 5, 2022 will be remembered for how early it occurred in the state of Iowa and the massive impact it had throughout the state. This video is dedicated to the 7 people who were killed by the tornadoes of March 5, 2022.
As always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I really enjoy making all these videos, so I love that you guys are able to watch them and enjoy them, hopefully just as much as I do making them. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. If you're new here, don't forget to like and subscribe. I got some more video ideas coming out soon, likely some more recent tornado events, so be on the watch for those. I'm going to wait a little bit, obviously, so it's not super quick right after they happen. But yeah, be on the watch. We might have some brand new tornado videos over very recent tornadoes pretty soon. And also I have another couple in mind as well, but definitely be on the watch for some new videos over the next couple weeks here. I'm going to be trying to pump out some more content as we get through the early portions of storm season. In addition to any chases, obviously, I'll be pumping out any high quality chase footage. So hopefully we get something to come up in the next couple weeks. But yeah, anyways, I really appreciate you all for watching. Thank you to my channel members as always. We have about 50 now. So if you want to become and join one of the first 100 channel members on the channel, feel free to do that. And I really appreciate y'all as always. Yeah, but anyways, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one in a couple weeks. Goodbye.
We got the strong tornado right here. Very large tornado directly in front of us.